Oh, come on, you stupid cold coward. Okay, welcome to a Wonderlands live stream. That's why I like to run the wire with melee weapon, because it'll chain the enemies. Plus, it truly makes melee truly viable. Yeah. I'm not gonna fight Bundhog though. Where are you? Let's go smack this thing up. That's gonna be a real pain to hit with a melee weapon. I'll use a bigger one, like a Laura. Oh, come on. I got it. Switch to the rage handle. Do I want trust magic or break it up? I'm going to choose trust and magic. And I'm going to make the next one elite. Why not? Get extra crystals. That'll be even more important next week because the bonus crystals mini event. They rotate. My mostly useful one in my opinion. Although we got the armor up mini event, which should look in the farm armor for your multi-class. That's a good way to do it. Okay, Iclops. I'll shoot it at the wire. Why not? Because it's usually out of reach of the melee weapon. I'm gonna fail this because I don't really pay attention to time on that thing. Wish they wouldn't jump around like that. Especially when you're using melee weapons to kill them. Oh, party time, which means I can farm. I think the other one was ball up buddies, which I really ever choose. Is Because those things will make the enemies invincible until you destroy those things. And looks like we gotta destroy Dragonlord statue. I don't have Blast 2 active, so you won't see that proccing. But with Rage handle, that actually lagged the game anyway. See, that's nice. Silicone ring, when health is above 50%. Not most useful the ring have though. Especially when something like a shark's bane is usually always active, because if you can get a crit on the enemy, you can always get that 33% bonus. Plus you get extra damage on the land sharks and stuff. Which that second bonus is situational because it's one enemy type. And with overflow, I'm not gonna choose that. That is a no-no. But I do have the non-elemental weapon to use, if that's the case. But I'm not using a non-elemental weapon. Yeah, might as well wire those because they're up in the air. That thing will blow up. I'll just let it blow up because here comes a monstrosity. Yeah, you get destroyed. Of course, that thing is resisting the elemental damage, unfortunately, but compared to something like that pig where he's more tame to deal with. This pig won't put up the shield. He likes to move away from you and tends to be resistant to elemental damage as well, which makes this one of the worst mini bosses you can face in Chaos Chamber. I definitely choose the crystals over the curses, unless you want on not on a chaos level, but that would work real awful a lot. But when you're up in Chaos 100, it's an additive bonus. It won't contribute much to the overall crystals you get. This I personally prefer for bossing over mobbing, because it triples its effect when you're facing up against a boss, which means you'll be swinging really fast. Got against some mobs, like so you should hit the enemy with a big sword, like those Valor swords. Yeah, now I'm talking about. Of course, it's slow, but they're powerful. That's it. I carry the wire because it makes the melee weapons actually viable. especially when you're going up against mobs. So I use some of my weapon, I don't get nearly as much damage. I hate it when they knock me off the sacred ground. It's
when you're done with the yellow things on the end of the corn, bring them back out to the sink.
yeah. Side objective completed. No, just fun. I can go open path if I want, but I am not going to do that. So, but you know what that thing is, if in case you decide to run the thing. Now, I'll just use about saying for the bonuses. I could use the treasure chest, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I do have the loot lock stuff, so I decided to do that. Good night, you clomp. That's a twin soul. It's a primordial. I appreciate you watching this thing, but if you gotta go, then you do go. I hope you're doing well too. Well, thank you. This is Bundhog. Wrong one, that is Frankenstein's. I'm not going to go after him though. But I did go after the Bundhog one. Took the third one till I get it. That's because it's not usually easy to hit that thing with a melee weapon. Well, Celeste is here. I personally do not like this boss, as that geyser attack's overpowered. Well, it doesn't matter, she's gonna go down anyway. Love this rage handle so much. Didn't know about so Wonderlands hasn't had an update in so long. Holy cow, look at that speed. Her dedicated drops, in my opinion, aren't really that good. Well, one of them's usually useful if you're chucking hydras, though, like the head of the snake. I personally don't care for the threads of fate. It's because that ball is usually rather slow. Doesn't always target the enemies well. Yeah. Again, that blast shield is powerful. It's just because that attack is so you can hit the enemy 20 times not to get that blast shield to go off. Real annoying, but it is super powerful. How did that not even hit me? Yeah, I cannot hit that thing very well with a melee weapon, unfortunately. That's why it's good to have something like a Stavomatic on you. Even though the Pharaohs can work well as well. Just make sure it's the crossbow kind, because that actually boosted by melee damage. There's one good thing about the Berserker. If you're doing damage that saves your soul meter's not going to go down very far. But there's nothing that even second wind off of. That fire I probably would have used though. Didn't bring out the salt and battery though. It's not the best boss to use a melee build with, but we can do it. I knew go with the path because you can't really hit its puzzle with a melee weapon at all. I don't need a body room. Oh, yeah. One of those. They don't have many variations. See the capacity. Also, there's a health and the one with no other modifiers. The only rolls you can get on that thing. Same with most of the other rooms. That one has nothing on it. Get out my loot lock stuff. No, actuality, it doesn't really help that much with the Chaos Chamber loot room. But anyway. I am mostly going to go after the armor. Amalgam. Usually I ignore anything that does not have the all damage dealt. Not very useful for it. Although it does have commanding damage, but using the mushroom and the bog totem don't really do that much damage, unfortunately. Class companions are nearly worthless for damage and Chaos 100 anyway. Unfortunately, they have no Chaos scaling at all. Doesn't matter if you have a full set of ascended gear or not. Still gonna need that base level 40, and ascended gear is technically a +8 on the levels. The Chaos Share does not increase the bonuses on the melee modifiers, but it does for the rage handle. When that stacks 50 times, that's over like 150% melee speed, melee critical chance, which means you'll be critting a lot with this thing. The critical damage on this thing is ordinary because it's 100%. I'm going after the armor. I probably would not have died if I but when Button Hog burrows under the ground, he's far away from you and you have to run up to it. It does have that yellow thing that has that spinning light, which you shoot it to get it out of the thing. But usually they generally skip those throwing noodle slices and not really worth your time. I could go after make it every time, but you don't really get that many crystals for the time spent. doing those cliff puzzles and stuff. Especially for a look to pads puzzle. Well, that's going to take some time to do. Usually, you get 3 chances with those puzzles. When the loop of path is slow. The Frankenstein, I recommend that any kind of sigil spell to do that, break those whatever that thing sends out. As long as it's not the one that goes around you, which is called the empowering sigil. These can be farmed from the launcher shrine. I don't usually farm the obelisk, so you usually gotta kill the enemies before that you get the mini boss to spawn. Animation special effect is, in my opinion, not that useful. But that's actually decent for the skills it gives. It's just that those the rolls on the bottom. Yes, movement speed, but movement speed does not add to the damage you do. It's technically supposed to do that for the Starmancer's haste, but that is actually bugged. Doesn't work the way it should. I don't know if that poison damage is considered ability damage or status damage, but either way, I don't think it's really that useful. It would do area damage because it explodes. I don't know if the wide wire's chain lightning is counted as area damage, but I don't know what counts for area damage and what does not, except for the things that obviously blow up, like Torg weapons and stuff. Most of the heavy weapons. I generally do not like the selective amnesia, because so one thing it damages your Fate Maker, and it's actually really useful for the Grade 1 Berserker, because Grade 1 can use Reaper of Bones and have that up basically the whole thing. The Berserker has health regeneration, and that'll counteract the damage from both the Reaper of Bones and the Socket of Amnesia's fire effect. It would be good to have a fire resistant shield on hand if you're using this thing, also, because that's a fire status effect. I probably don't advise that on the Starmax, because if you increase that status effect damage, that's going to you, and that's not fun. Also, White Hall has status effect damage. I don't remember if it does though. There you go. Gotta go chat. That's a deathless mantle, but I'm gonna sell it because not what I'm looking for. Doing the contagion, but contagion's not what it used to be. Long since patched. I think that was either before the White Hollow came out or I don't remember. But it was fixed when I think it was fixed when Chaos 50 came out. Corrupted plate mail. Useful for certain builds. That if you're running a lot of dark magic enchantments and stuff, it can be useful. Useful for things that would otherwise heavily resist you out of element, like if you're going into those amps and you have a fire weapon and it's immune to that. At least the dark magic will do damage. But it's easier to boost your damage when you're using only one element. So there's that. The Dragon Knight's Calamity. That's a Greyborn Clawbringer class combination I don't normally use. If only the Wyvern was actually good. But then again, I can chuck Hydras or the Pixies. We'll use the Lobstruck both, so that's a companion. That's a corrupted plate mail. These are just the regular purples. If I see a one that has good rolls, I'm gonna pick it. Not gonna sell it. Really should put that in the bank. Does have that 3 in that aim down sight skill. You get extra damage and damage reduction. Unfortunately, that all goes away when you stop aiming down sights, which is why I'm not a big fan of that skill, because you lose all those stats once you stop aiming down sights. And when you're reloading, you're forced to unaim. It goes all your stacks that you worked on. Stacks take too long to build, in my opinion. I could use that with the last right? Last gasp. Does have all damage dealt. I'm going to stop talking about these things though. The Berserker Greyborn. Manus Claw, if you have companions, they'll all be poison element though. there's 5 different claws of all the elements. There is none that has the physical damage, but because it's not an element, physical damage is not. As I said, selective amnesia depends on your class combination. That would actually be nice. That has only gun damage would contribute to the follow-up. Follow-up's a one-time use. Which, if you were going on one hits with a melee weapon, then but you want to do that with a high base damage weapons, such as with a high base damage, something like the assault battery. That would be useful for. Not necessarily high base damage, but has that high critical damage and has that special effect, which is awesome. But the rolls down there are not catered to that. Is a great one spell shot. Plate mail is useful for the grade 1 because the grade 1 is specializes in the dark magic. Diamond gauntlets can be useful, but I'm usually moving around. Those effects usually don't take effect. But does have always has the dark magic efficiency. Its element is random and always has a critical hit chance. Unfortunately, I wish there was more that had frost efficiency, but usually with freezing enemies they have to take a certain amount of damage, and usually when they're most likely when they're frozen they're pretty much dead anyway. Bosses cannot be frozen, but some of the mini bosses can. No, not looking for that. That's a blank slate. Anyone be stupid to equip a blank slate. Does increase in experience gained by 10%. That is not worth it though. If you're killing enemies faster, you don't really need that extra 10% experience gain. Most of the time, just slow you down. The ability can spawn with those top rolls, like the ability level and stuff, but again, it's not really useful. Doesn't boost any skills at all or the class powers, which means what's the point of this thing anyway? The one armor you should never pick up. Never have equipped it at all. if there was actually something that increased experience, that actually boosted skills and stuff, might take it. But it's the only piece of gear you can get that boosts experience gain, and for basically 10%, it is not absolutely not worth it. Especially in Chaos 100. I wouldn't even use it during the story either. No matter what it is, you're just weakening your build by equipping that. Another thing I would never. Oh, that fell out of my ear. One other thing I don't recommend equipping at all is once you get something with a double loot rock, there's really no point in having the Bradlock equipped at all. Especially not in combat. And even out of combat, sometimes it's an instant kill, and when you're not in combat, that is basically a money loss right there. Money and time. The bottom has 5 rolls on the bottom. If you're looking for a nice armor to get rolls you want, the bottom is that. So you get the 5 instead of the 3. What? No. The head of the snake. Yeah, and that is if you're for running Hydras. Deathless Mantle basically converts the maximum health to ward. Reserve all but 1 health. Return 150% as ward capacity. But health has no chaos scaling. That's again always a base level 40. Doesn't matter if you have all extended gear or not, it's still stuck with level 40 health. If you run the Deathless Mantle, you should really max out the Constitution. And it's also powerful with certain builds because you get those low 50% health rings. That'll benefit from Deathless Mantle, but unfortunately it does not. You cannot have a desperate enchantment. You can't really take advantage of that because for some reason it's actually bugged and it doesn't really work like it should. I got about a Deathless Mantle for that combination. That's an Ash's skill cooldown up when the water is full, but But the build I have is an imMinutemanMatt, and that 4+4 and that other skill just doesn't. It's useless. Along with putting any points in the toolman with a imMinutemanMatt build. Because you don't have the action skills, you just have the 2 spells. Bottom roll is I didn't even want for that thing anyway. You can farm the Deathless Mantle from the Death Rattler, by the way. Calamity is an Oculus drop. I already told you the Amalgam drop. I better be careful not to sell these too fast. Might accidentally sell something that I didn't want to sell. Oh, it's that spell, the gun damage. Of course, they nerfed it because it basically makes the spell shot too powerful with gun damage builds. Which is spell shots one of the most powerful you can get for gun damage builds still. The one thing you don't want a spell shot for is a melee build. Unless you're using a warp paradigm and a spell blade. But that's only one type of build. Also, I think that's melee when you increase your melee damage. Not when you do melee damage, you get fire rate and spell damage increase, which is nice if you're using Executioner's Blade. Because most of the time I'm not going to want to be close to the enemy when slinging spells. Except for certain spells that have limited range, like the Inflammation. I still have a lot of these to go through because I both basically went full elite for that run. And the bosses are the Monstrosity and the Celesta, by the way. If you're looking for their drops, now it's the week to do it, but Monstrosity drops in generic Chaos Chamber mini boss loot, while Celesta's doesn't drop that many useful stuff. Trial doesn't either, but Trial has a large loot explosion when it dies. Drops a lot of equipment. Stab Mantis forward, and let me take a look at that. That's a no. Sell that immediately, because that was a selective amnesia for the spell shot. Stabbermancer, you don't really get much survivability with that. It's a glass cannon combination of classes, which is spell shot as glass can skill, by the way. It's 30% plus 30% on spell damage, but you don't regenerate your ward naturally. You have to use the mage armor to do that. And other skills from other classes as well.